drama, action, comedy, and cringe. It's all here on Nerd Central. Yep, that's our big cringe moment for the day out of the way. Let's get to the other things when we kick it to the news. And now comes the sad drama portion of the show. We have more delays to report. It's a tragic victory today, as the victory is the insulting live-action Mulan film didn't make very much money. But because it didn't make much money, it means that Disney will not be trying the same on-demand format with Black Widow, which is now delayed clear until May of 2021. That's almost 2 full years with no MCU. Ah! But at least we have a trailer for WandaVision. No release date, but at least a trailer that kind of, sort of tells us the theme and tells us absolutely nothing at the same time. Apparently, it's about Wanda and Vision, who is still alive somehow, living through every era of sitcom. Okay. But it's Marvel, baby, so the news does not stop there. The director of S.H.I.E.L.D. himself, Samuel L. Jackson, has signed on for a solo Nick Fury TV show airing on Disney+. Do we know anything else about this? No, of course not. Oh, I'm getting so heated. I need to insult something. I need ideas for that, though. Oh, I know. We can watch Sideburns with Kyle, and that will give me a bunch of ideas. And then just as a nice little cool down, I can watch B-Rated with Paige. Take it away, guys.
We're taking a look at B-rated nights and a real-life hungry hippo in this week's episode of Sideburns. Welcome back to Sideburns, the show where insults rule and feelings are hurt. I'm your host Kyle, and good God, this week is gonna get weird. But first, we're gonna take a look at one of the goofiest movies I've ever seen. And if you haven't seen it, probably been living under a rock. First up to bat is from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Roll the clip.
Fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Okay, first off, I didn't quite understand this when I first heard it. But when you watch a movie as off the wall as this, you should expect nothing less. King Arthur and his noble steed are traveling through the countryside in search for their knights to join him at Camelot. Accompanied by Sir Bedivere, Sir Lancelot, Sir Galahad, and Sir Robin, King Arthur seeks food and shelter from the Frenchmen. And yes, those French accents are as outrageous as they sound. For actual insult, I'll give it a 3. It's definitely one that makes you stop for a second, rewind the movie to listen to it again. If one thing is for certain, I would think this guy was strange too. And if I were Arthur, I wouldn't know how to respond to this. For cleverness, I'll give it a 4. It's weird. It's one of those insults where you don't exactly know what the person is trying to say. But if an insult can throw off somebody as much as your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberry, I mean, how the f do you respond to that? That being said, well, the next clip. What? We have no B-roll. Can we fix that? Perfect. For our next clip, my wonderful producer Cody and Paige will reenact the scene from Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Take it away.
How did you sleep with that?
I was just doing my duty, Austin. I had no choice.
No. I mean literally. How could you do it? He's so fat. The sheer mechanics of it are mind-boggling.
Thanks, guys. Austin makes the shocking discovery that Felicity Shagwell has, in fact, slept with wait, I can't say it on air. The obnoxiously large Scotsman. This leads us to, no, I mean, literally, how could you? He's so fat, the sheer mechanics of it are mind-boggling. In fact, if we bring up my handy-dandy ruler again, we can see the proportions for these two do not line up in any way, shape, or form. And the Scotsman is a lot of shapes and forms. I'm not good at math, but this is a no-brainer. For actual insult, I'll give it a 3. It's a little generic, you know, going after a man's size, and I mean, I've got a dad bod too, but I mean, that's kind of a cheap shot. For cleverness, it's a 2. Piggybacking off of what I said, it's pretty easy to insult a Scotsman that weighs at least 700 pounds. Austin, you could do better. Total burnage was close, however, Monty Python pulls ahead to claim the dub over our beloved British spy. It's It's so off the wall, it throws you off, and you can't help but laugh. Monty will be moving on in the Siddhartha to. And that's all I got for this week. Come back next week, and I'll take you through the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Until next time, stay burned.
Hello and welcome back to B Rated, the segment of our show that reviews the best of the worst in cinema. I'm your host, Paige, and this week's hot seat is occupied by Heckbender's Spaghetti Man. I'll admit, this one seems pretty tame compared to the other movies we've reviewed on this show, but believe me, it's here for a reason. After being unjustly fired, Clark Kent runs head-on into a rough job market. Despite his connections, he has no marketable skills. In a drunken stupor, Mr. Kent unwittingly eats a bowl of radioactive pasta, and it awakens within him the power to shoot spaghetti from his hands. After an intense period of training, he does what any real superhero would do: fight crime and earn money doing it. So he's a millennial. Viewers on Amazon Prime gave Spaghetti Man a 4.3 out of 5 stars, but I'm not so sure it deserves such a high score. I wish I could say that this was an awesome movie worthy of ranking so closely to the Velocipaster, but I can't. This movie's biggest downfall was its inconsistency. The acting, the writing, the action scenes, the jokes, and the plot itself were all inconsistent throughout the movie. The only consistency that it did have was the theme of a poor, tired millennial and medium shots. I'm not kidding. I think 50% of the movie was medium shots. The score for this movie was clearly somebody's garage band with an overzealous drummer, and everything else regarding production was just okay. You can definitely tell that the script writers pulled a lot of tropes straight from another familiar cynical superhero. There were a lot of jokes in the movie, but only half of them were actually funny. The others just dragged on way too long, and instead of laughing, we were just asking ourselves when the joke would be over. There was one scene where Clark plays the ukulele and sings a song about being twins to a pregnant woman's unborn children, and it was pretty funny. The story had a great start and followed the superhero movie formula pretty well, but it just took way too long to introduce the movie's main villain. About 45 minutes into the movie, we got bored and started asking when this movie would be over. And now it's time to take a closer look at this week's B-movie monster, the Spaghetti Man. Yes, I am aware that he's not a monster, but we've still got to talk about him, so here we are. When Spaghetti Man fights, he flings mounds of spaghetti that come out of various body parts. And when I say various body parts, I mean various body parts. The consistency of the spaghetti is always cooked, but it seems to have special properties that make it strong enough to knock out opponents, choke a grown man, and restrain bad guys. Kinda reminds you of another superhero clad in red. Clark Kent, the hero blessed with these pasta powers, is the embodiment of a lazy millennial. He's tight on money, so instead of offering to use these powers for good, he becomes a superhero for hire. But even if you don't ask for his help, he still expects payment for his services. Overall, I wish I could say that this was a good movie, worth an hour and a half of your time, but the plot hit such a lull that it was hard to get over. It felt like a student paper with 3 pages of information that was dragged out to fit the 5-page requirement. It had really great jokes and a unique take on a superhero movie, but they simply weren't enough to save the movie. So when should you watch this? Well, if you just need background noise or something to watch while you do homework or something, then this is a good movie to watch. This has been my review of Spaghetti Man. Tune into Nerd Central to watch next week's episode of B Rated, where we review
Cute Little Buggers.
Thanks for watching.
I've never seen such an atrocious movie make something look so appetizing before. I'm gonna go ahead and make the executive decision that we should take a break while I go get some pasta. Stay tuned. Ooh, hey, hi! We're back! Didn't see you there. Oh, cut! Cody. What the heck? You promised me the only cringe thing I would have to do this week was the air guitar. Oh no, please don't make me report on that. But people are sick of hearing us talk about DC stuff. Ugh, fine. Action. Let's get back to the news. The DC Universe's live-action show Titans has already been renewed for a 4th season on HBO Max, despite the 3rd still not even having coming out yet. Yippee. For those of you who are Gen 2 fans, you are probably aware of the Japanese action game known as Yakuza. Usually we weren't allowed to talk about such awesome things, but now we can, because Yakuza is being adapted into a movie, baby. Let's just hope it's not bad enough to end up on Trash Flicks. Speaking of which, Drew, take it away.
Hello, I'm Drew, and welcome to Trash Flicks, where I watch bad movies so you never have to. This week, I'll be going over the 2011 psychological thriller film, The Roommate. This movie was one of the worst I've had to watch so far. I personally enjoyed The Last Airbender and Death Note more than this. This is a painful experience. In this movie, Sarah is moving into her college for her freshman year and tries to fit in by going to parties and dating, all while she shares a room with her creepy roommate who is obsessed with her so much that it's unnerving. The plot itself is simple. It's just Sarah dealing with creepy roommates for an hour and 19 minutes. Now, there are a few things about this movie that are not absolutely terrible. During certain scenes, there would be a genuine suspense that I would feel, and they did a good job of making the roommate, whose name is Rebecca, creepy. But for the most part, it's a bit bland in its horror. The biggest flaw, I feel, is the main antagonist, Rebecca. Rebecca is supposed to be the super creepy and messed up person who is obsessive and psychopathic. While some parts of the movie you get that vibe, most of the time she just feels extremely socially awkward. A lot of the times the movie played up something she did, but it was super mild, like being rude to someone or slightly creepy. Another problem I had was the characters. Every character was some form of extreme stereotype. There was points in the movie where you'd feel like it must be parody, but it's taken 100% seriously. The characters will say a line, and I'm expecting a Disney Channel laugh track to play or something. In some select cases, I found myself laughing at how much of a cardboard cutout these characters really are. It's astounding. Another aspect of the characters that I also found surprising is that there is not one character that I enjoyed seeing on screen. Most of them gave off an air of unlikability that I have never seen before in movies. While I've seen the movie be called a horror movie on some sites and a psychological thriller on others, in my personal opinion, it's more of a watered-down horror film. It's trying to be a deep dive into the psyche of a crazed individual, but it comes off as a super bland horror movie, but without the things that make horror fun to watch. I also found it impossible to do any form of digging into the message it's trying to tell. It's almost like they don't have anything to say at all. Overall, I'd say the movie is just painfully bland. The characters are cardboard cutouts from a generic teen drama, the horror elements are bland and unoriginal, and the movie is about as shallow as a puddle. While some parts aren't too bad, like the final 10 minutes and some of the scenes with Rebecca, most of the movie is extremely painful to watch. I had to hold back the urge to skip past dialogue and cringy acting scenes. This was Drew, and thanks for watching Trash Flicks. Now let me send you over to Emma with Nerd Games.
What is up, you guys? My name is Emma, and you're watching Nerd Games. This week, my guest and I will be playing musical Caveman Taboo. We each have to describe a song from a hit Broadway musical using only one-syllable words, while avoiding any words in the song title itself. For this game, I had to invite the one and only Adam Bocart.
Hello. Move hand back and forth through pane of
Waving
glass.
through a window.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hop.
Jump
Yep. Two.
from. Jump
Two.
to.
Two.
Jump. I don't know what you mean. Use more words.
Back.
Forward. Jump. Around.
Poor boy loves girl.
Every musical ever.
Street rat.
Aladdin. One jump ahead of the red light.
Yes.
Use brain and
Use brain.
use brain to do this.
Think of me.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, rap. But
Guns and chips.
yeah.
Too easy. Guy from way back when,
Hamilton.
need rest.
Oh.
Wife want go New York.
Oh. Oh, I know the song, but the title.
Snap.
She wants
Snap bone in arm is.
Yeah. What?
Or.
No, I know this song. I already know it.
No, you don't.
But I do. I just can't think of the title.
Okay, fine.
So just skip it. Take a break.
Yeah.
Ah, I knew it. I was so close. I was not close.
That one doesn't count for her.
Oh, hot?
Cold. Yes. No.
This isn't an opposites game.
Okay, you're saying it like it is.
Hot,
Frost buns.
not day.
Night.
Hot,
Warm
high school.
musical. Pass?
No.
Are you regretting bringing me on yet?
No. Hot, not day.
Night.
Okay, yes, that's a word in the title.
Night.
Okay.
Phantom of the Night. Story of Tonight.
Hot,
Cold.
high school.
Musical.
Woo! Girl
Boy.
turns bad, but was good. For guy.
Is it from Wicked?
No. Girl turns bad.
Girl turns
for
bad.
Guy.
Phantom of
for
the Opera.
Guy. No, girl turns bad for a guy in high school.
Mamma Mia.
Grease.
Oh God, I forgot we included that. Okay. Yeah, Sandra D. Yeah.
No, it's Summer Nights.
Okay, we got it.
All right, thank you so much for coming on, Adam.
Absolutely.
Join me next week for a new nerd game.
I won.
Thanks, Emma. Takes me back to my days in the theater. We're gonna take a short break, but we'll be right back with Slightly Off. Stay tuned.
What's up? We're the best take. This is Slightly Off on Nerd Central. We continue our Redbox escapade. We have 10 free rentals. Last week we watched Mile 22 starring Marky Mark. This week we watched The Force of Nature starring Mel Gibson, the girl who played Lois Lane in Superman Returns.
Mel Hirsch, he's the guy who starred in Into the Wild some
Yeah.
years back in 2007.
There you go.
He's a fantastic actor, just not in this particular film.
So what do you get when you take Mel Gibson, Nazis, and a hurricane and put it into one movie? You get A Force of Nature.
Let's be clear. There are no Nazis.
There are Nazis.
in the film per se. Actually, there is.
Yeah.
I guess there. I mean, Mel Gibson had said things in the past that may imply that he
Is a Nazi.
was,
Yeah.
but there is a Nazi in the film, and it's a weird kind of tie-in for that. I guess we can just go over like
Yeah, go ahead.
the actual premise
Explain
of the
the-
film,
explain the premise there,
and
bro.
maybe we'll get to that part where there's Nazis in the film. So.
All right, so we got this homie. He's not Mel Gibson, but he looks a lot like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, this dude is trying so hard to be Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie. He's doing like this weird accent that makes him sound like him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he keeps doing this thing with his eyebrows that, you know, DiCaprio is well known for. And like, oh, you can't see my lips. Well, he's doing this thing with his lips that DiCaprio always does. And I'm just watching this guy the whole time because his facial expressions are very entertaining.
Sure.
And that's pretty much the only entertaining thing about this movie.
Absolutely.
So what we got, he's a cop, and then
Cap.
Lois Lane from Superman Returns is also a cop. And they're trying to like evacuate all the old people because there's a hurricane coming,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then they get to this one hurricane place, and this apartment complex. And on like the top floor lives one Mel Gibson, who is all old and dying of many things that he has many pills for.
So this is recent. This
Yeah.
film. Okay.
It came out this year.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
This film came out this year, and honestly, I had no idea it existed.
Yeah, I've never heard of this until you mentioned it.
But basically, Mel Gibson refuses to leave, which is a really big problem for the police trying to get him out. But it happens to be a good thing because all these looters and thieves come to this apartment complex to try and basically steal a bunch of art.
Paintings.
Was it?
Yeah.
Paintings.
So there's a Nazi that lives on the first floor, and he has a bunch of like really old and valuable paintings. So they're trying to get that from him.
So like a neo-Nazi, like bald dude.
No. Like,
no. Like a really
Like
old.
an OG
old-
Nazi?
you know
Yeah.
what?
Tough.
He said in the film his father was the Nazi, and then he immigrated. The film takes place in Puerto Rico, you see.
Oh.
Right? Because the hurricane.
Right.
And they just kind of tied that in, saying like, "Oh, my father was the Nazi, but I got all this cool paint stuff, you know, like giant portraits of like Picasso's and all
Whoa.
that." And I was like,
And he's just
okay.
hidden it throughout various apartments in this complex.
Yeah, it's really weird how they've kind of put this together. If you're confused right now, you should be, because there's a lot of things happening in this film without
were
like
confused
any real
too.
context. So, yeah, I don't even like know where to even start with the film as far as plot, but it's a mess. It's an absolute.
It's
Yeah.
It's an
horrible.
absolute hurricane of a mess.
Hey.
So here's how the film goes. Okay, we have bad action scene.
Okay.
One of our characters will get a flesh wound, and then we'll spend the next 30 minutes sewing them up and talking about our lives.
Wow.
Like, the amount of
bad,
times Mel Gibson's daughter had to sew up wannabe Leonardo DiCaprio, and they just talked about irrelevant things. Like, my dad cooked me turkey on Thanksgiving once was like actually a movie in the line in the
It was
movie.
weird. There's
Yeah.
just a bunch of things happening with the screenplay, and it's like I said, it's just kind of like this hurricane of things that it's just we got.
Hey, it's a
families and-
hurricane.
I know, yeah, whatever.
This one guy got like arrested because he was buying 100 pounds of meat in like the deli or something.
Oh, what?
This is at like the very beginning of the film, where people are kind of like stocking up for the hurricane, and as you do, you panic. You go to the grocery store to get all your food, and this guy packs a bunch of meat. But then a boy and his son, right?
A boy and his son?
Yes.
A man and his son, father and his son. Hopefully it's his father.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that would be-
They
yeah.
walk up to the guy and he's like, "Oh, please, sir, like I just want some meat for my boy." And I was
Please,
like,
sir.
"Okay, let's not do that at all." And the guy's like, "No, I don't think I will." You know. And so then there's this big altercation with the cops. And then the tiger comes in, I guess.
But no, I wanted it
you
to
wanted
be a
to see it?
surprise.
No. Yeah, I
Okay,
guess.
so yeah, he has 100 pounds of meat, and we go into his apartment for the first time. We see a shredded cop uniform and like 5 locks on this random closet door, and then he gets like taken into this closet by whatever animal he's keeping in there, and the cop has to go in there and save him. He's like, "Stop! You gotta take your uniform off. I trained him to hurt cops."
Yeah, so
What?
if you're confused right now, you should be, because there's no way to tell what's going on in this film without being like utterly lost, you know? So this is like us trying to mildly explain something. I
This
just
is-
want to make that clear. Like, we're not like crazy. It's just how the film is.
This movie is though.
Yeah, there's a lot of wild things.
So yeah,
Tigers.
we honestly have no idea what this creature was because we only see it for maybe like 3 frames at the
Yeah.
very end
Yeah.
of the movie. And I think it's a jaguar, he thinks it's a tiger, it might have been a puma. We don't know. It's some kind of cat that
It's
eats
large.
people.
It eats people.
We thought it was a polar bear for a while.
I thought it was a polar bear for
Yeah.
a while.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was.
That'd be intense.
Because like, what
It's
do you need
weird.
100 pounds of meat for, you know?
That's true.
There's way too much in there, and I just feel really sad for the people who see this film.
Yeah.
So,
I feel sad for us too,
yeah.
you know?
Not good for me.
It was
Like
a
we have
rough 80
10
minutes.
we have 10 free Redbox rentals.
I mean, we should get better movies. in my
Yeah.
Why
opinion.
did we watch this?
I don't know. I think I didn't personally want it.
Would you watch this again?
You know, there's a lot of good things in the Redbox,
World.
you know, and I think we just need to look a little bit deeper
Yeah.
and stuff. Maybe not on the first page
Right.
of the screen. But would I watch this again, or would I recommend it to anybody? You know what? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not much you're missing out on.
Sure.
So.
You know what? It's kind of a fun date movie. You know, just making fun of it with your friends and another person. I mean, that's always fun, right?
Another person.
And another person.
Another person.
Yeah, that
And,
sounds good.
but no, never watch this.
Please.
Please,
Yeah.
please. Wes, from our very detailed description of it. What do you think?
I think the most interesting thing you said was the Leo guy. I just really want to like Google his face.
You just want to see.
I want to
what
see
he
that
is.
in action, honestly, and I want to see Mel Gibson like be fat and like. Does he have a beard in this?
Yeah.
Great.
All right, well, I think this is going to do it for this episode of The Best Takes Slightly Off and Nerd Central.
Hey.
You know, you can watch all of our previous episodes on the KNWT YouTube page.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can do that?
It's great.
And they can do that.
You should definitely do that.
YouTube is a website.
Yeah, it sure is. And we'll see you on the next episode of Nerd Central.